Good day and welcome back to the Family Cyber Clinic. This week we're going to be sharing some tips, for you parents who are about to hand over an internet-enabled device to your son or daughter. And internet-enabled devices like a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, a desktop computer, a gaming console. I could go on. So these tips we're hoping will give you some confidence and comfort that whilst you are trusting your young one with these devices, that you've done all that is possible to do. We hope those tips will certainly help you. Okay. We'd also like to let you know that we've started using chapters. So of course, if some of the content is not really relevant to you, you can just skip to the chapter that is of the most interest to you. Okay, we'll ask you to consider supporting this channel by your subscription. All right, don't forget to like the content. Just hit that like button so that this content can go to others like you. All right, so we'll go into the tips and we're hoping that it will resound with you. In fact, some of these tips we've already shared with you already, but at least you have a video that you could just look at and just get going. All right. The first, and this should not come as a surprise to those who are subscribed to the platform because the channel is quite big on this. Parental controls. You have to set parental controls first on the broadband router because we're talking about the internet. It's vital that you understand that most of the junk comes in from the router. So if the router, the broadband router, if you allow a lot of that content to come into the house, in the first place, then you have the problem. So if you stop it at that, so you can do that by setting parental controls and just allowing, only the right content to come through your broadband router. And it's also vital, that you set up the parental controls on the devices also that you're handing over to these young ones. And you're able to do that on Android phones, if it's mobile phones we're talking about, or indeed on the Apple phones. And even on Windows and Apple computers, the tablets, all those, you can set parental controls. So it's vital that you set them on the broadband router and also on the devices. Now this next tip is also one that we've created a video. You can click on this on the info card for more information on that content. But you have to disable location services. Location services, especially on the tablet and the mobile phone, because you move around with those. Those have to be disabled so that your child is not unintentionally, revealing his or her location to internet rogues. And so it's important that you disable those location services. And if they have to be enabled, at least you will be involved in that discussion. It's vital that we do that. And make sure that we are paying particular attention to that. Okay. The next one is password control. We'll ask you to set up a password on the phone. Don't just assume, okay, it's for her or it's for him, and you just leave it open. Set a password. Password protect areas on that device that your son or daughter does not need to engage in. And you can do that with many of the parental control apps, but we're emphasizing as a particular tip, that you set passwords on those internet devices that you're handing over to your young ones. Okay, another tip would be that you install age-appropriate applications onto those devices for your young one. We mentioned in a video, again, click on the info card for that information. We mentioned things like Swiggle. Installing Swiggle as a default search engine will be a good app because that's age appropriate. So you make sure that you install age appropriate apps on those devices. One of the other points, or the tip that I mentioned earlier, that I think this point will add more color to that point about password control. You also prevent the risk of your young one accumulating a huge bill if you set that password, because the password will prevent it automatically purchasing. So a password is like a stagger. It's like it just prevents those nasty bills from coming to you at the end of the month. Okay, and make sure that they are aware of what they're doing anytime they're on a device. Anything they do on the internet requires a lot of attention. So just make sure that they're aware that they ought to be really focused and not careless whilst browsing or doing anything on the internet. We've talked about open door policies. That's also quite important. We want you to make sure that you are allowing them come to you if they find something on the internet that's not really comforting to them, or they're not comfortable with it. Allow them come to you by having an open door policy. That is vital. It's vital that you're making sure that they can come to you at any point of their engagement. Okay, and the last tip, it's a short video. The last tip is related to social media. Most of our young ones have a social media account, and of course that means they have a profile. Just make sure that you have locked down their profile, and their privacy settings are such that not everybody can see what they are doing or what they have in their person. So that's important. Go over their privacy settings on social media and make sure that it is locked down. There are risks associated with having your entire profile open to the whole world. So make sure you're with them and you're locking it down accordingly. Okay? So that is the video for the week. I hope that you will, really digest this before you hand over, those devices to your young one. Okay? Good stuff. Okay, the clinic news this week, at least from experience, I've found that there are parents on the platform and everywhere else in the world who have been stung by a scam in such a way that they feel so guilty because they didn't do the simple things. And because of that, they don't tell anyone. Now that is even worse than the first issue you had. It is important that if you've been stung by a scam, it could be an internet scam, a phone scam, you must, first of all, report it. We've already spoken about action fraud. You can engage with them. You could just Google it, you find the phone number. Make sure you've reported it. But even better would be to let the clinic know, and so that we can give you the advice required. We can scan your device to see whether there's the fragments of that scam still on your system. That could be your laptop, your tablet, or even your smartphone. It's important that you engage with us so that we can tell you what to do post-scam. I thought that perhaps that will be useful to those who are so embarrassed to share the issue they had, where they feel that they could have done a lot more and they're blaming themselves. Please don't take that stance. make sure you are sharing that information with the clinic, with Action Fraud, so that we can clean up your system, get you comfortable again, you and your young ones, comfortable again on the internet, so that you can continue this journey with them. Okay? Good stuff. Okay, our PowerPoints for this week, when I read it again, it sounded quite funny. You have no business, and I say this, you have no business, doing anything untoward when it comes to your young one, on the internet. You've got to go on that journey with them, So don't imagine yourself to be presentable when you have not had a bath in weeks. I'm your host, Cyber Pastor Lawrence Edem. Until next week, God bless and goodbye.